Make It Nice, the YouTube where we spin yarns about reality TV to forget about the bleak reality in which we live. I'm Hayley,
I'm unfortunately Katie.
and here we are on this glorious day when it's supposed to be spring, and yet it snowed last night in upstate New York.
No!
Time the sun's out and it's mostly melted.
Oh, good. I've been noticing on my walks little purple flowers coming in and like the grass is turning green. I'll send you photos next time.
Yes, please do.
Unless you don't want them because it'll make you mad.
No, it'll make me happy. Yay, almost spring. So, Katie, springtime, new growth, new life. What are you creating?
Haley, I will tell you what I'm creating. So I feel like I just like got out of the worst like panoramic depression, which is since I know I am not saying the P word. So the mania has taken over my life. You know how you come out of like a deep depressive and you're like, whoa, I feel good. So I've been doing a lot of spring cleaning, which is one of my favorite things to do. I like to do it probably once a month if we're being honest, but usually the biggest ones happen around this time of year when I'm like, I have to put some of my sweaters away, but there's no room because I have so much summer clothes. Oh, wait, I don't wear any of these. That's usually what triggers the process. So I have spent a lot of this week making space in my home, in my heart, and in my mind for not being depressed anymore, because that's a lot of fun. Currently, I'm making some sun tea.
Ooh.
It's so beautiful, and the sun shines directly on my desk, so I can just like put my mason jar there and it'll steep. So
What is that?
it's just so it's like regular tea, but you make it obviously with cold water. You put it in like a mason jar or some sort of glass canister and you let it steep for like 3 to 5 hours in the sun. So the process of the water becoming warm by the sun versus putting tea into boiling water gives it a different flavor. At least that's what some people say. I just do it because it's what my mom always does in the spring. So I always do it in the spring.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. It's just like a nice way to feel, especially like our apartment doesn't have like a balcony or anything. So it's a nice way to like bring the outside inside when we can.
Yeah. Wow, that's such a good idea.
Here, I can show you because Max is being really cute on my desk.
Oh,
There's the sun tea.
wow.
I don't know how my finger works. And Max.
Look at that. They kind of match.
They kind of do. Yeah. So that's what I'm up to. How are you celebrating this spring and the new growth and the transition between seasons?
Well, my allergies are back, which now that I'm thinking about it, that's probably why I haven't been sleeping very well, because I stopped taking my allergy medicine like a month ago to try to like wean myself off of it. But now that it's like nice and sunny outside, like my allergies are back, so I should probably start taking it again.
Totally work.
Oh, yeah. But I've also been doing some like crafty things. As usual, I'm just knitting all the time. Right now I'm knitting a sweater. This is the front of it. I already knit the back of it. You won't be able to see the whole thing, but it's just like a panel. But look how pretty this is.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. It's gonna be like a long, like I think it'll cover my butt, long sleeve, and then like big turtleneck. Yeah. It's like definitely a winter sweater, and I'm definitely gonna finish it like in the summer.
Just like put the air conditioning on and put it on.
Yeah. It'll be nice at some point.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then I've just been knitting a bunch of socks as usual. Yeah, I baked cookies yesterday.
Mind.
Chocolate chip. But I got the ingredients today in my groceries to make ginger snaps, which I'm so excited because I've never made them before and I love anything ginger. So,
Yum, yum, yum. Um, I should send you this recipe for ginger tea biscuits that I have. One of my friends at work got me Ruby Tando from the Great British Baking Show's cookbook called Crumb. And
ooh.
it the only recipe I've made out of it are these really delicious, like very gingery ginger biscuits that are like not sweet at all. And just like you bite into them and it's like just warmth explodes in your mouth. So if you're a ginger fan, I'll have to send that to you because
Yes, please. I
so good.
love anything ginger. Like the kombucha that I wanted to get is ginger. I have a ton of ginger ale in my
I'm
fridge,
drinking ginger ale.
even though it's just sugar. But
Now there's
oh my God.
ginger.
Um, when I was in Senegal, there were like three juices that we used to drink all the time. One of them, I can't remember what it's called, but it's like this pink drink made from baobab tree
Mm.
juice. It was really good. And then there was this like hibiscus juice. And then there was gingembre, which is ginger juice. And it was like fizzy ginger juice. Like it wasn't ginger ale. It was literally like steeped ginger. And then somehow they made it fizzy. It was so good, like
Oh,
so spicy, but so refreshing. And just like I drink it all the time. I miss it so much.
that
Oh,
sounds so.
it was very, very,
You
very
said steeped, and my face went, and then you said fizzy, and I was like, ah, like
oh
it
my
was
God.
a master class. I was like, mm.
Oh man, I love ginger. I drink like at least 2 cups of ginger tea a day.
I should drink more tea. It's a problem I have.
Well,
I'll work on it.
it's fine. Just do whatever you want to do.
Oh my gosh. So
Well,
bachelor.
yeah, look at us creating things. Now we have
Yeah.
to create something out of nothing.
Time for this bullshit again.
Oh, do you want to talk about something fun before we talk about The Bachelor?
Yeah, I
Okay,
do.
great. So this is not on our list of things to talk about today, so we're going real off the cuff.
We're going off the script. I don't know what she's about to say.
Off script. No one knows what I'm about to say. Um, so Bachelor is ending soon, thank goodness. Which means though that we need to figure out what show we're going to focus on next. Or if we're going to cancel, make it nice, like we've canceled Chris Harrison.
Probably, yeah. I don't
Um,
know.
I don't
Is
know
there a show you want to watch?
Um, so there have been a few. Wait, so when does Bachelor actually end?
I think next week,
Next week.
2 weeks, because there's after the final rose.
Yeah.
It depends. Usually they'll do the finale one night and then after the final rose the next night. But sometimes they drag the finale out 2 nights.
Yeah.
And then I hard telling.
Okay, we don't know because there are a few like Bravo shows that are premiering this week and next week. But none that like there are some that we could do, but none that you're like caught up on. So I don't know.
Oh, we could watch the final season of Kardashian.
Wait, that is such a good
Kardashians.
idea. I haven't watched Keeping Up with the Kardashians in years.
I promised one of my friends that I was finally done with the Kardashians. It was last season. Do I come out of retirement? I think I might.
Yeah, I actually kind of want to do that because I kind of wanted to watch the last season.
Yeah.
But I haven't watched it in a while, but that would like
Yeah,
you
let's
don't
do it.
need you don't need to watch.
If you have
I'm on
social media, you
Instagram.
already know what the Kardashians are about. Like
Right.
that was the thing when I was watching like regularly, is like you already know what the entire season is about because you follow, like they're just everywhere.
I
You
know.
cannot escape them. So like you're like, oh, is this gonna be when they go to Jamba Juice? And it's like, yes, it is. And it's like stupid shit like that. But I consumed it. My family were like loyal Kardashian fans. We've watched it since season one.
Oh
Um,
my gosh.
and one of my other friends was doing a rewatch from the beginning, and she was like, they all look different. And I said, yeah, they were different people.
Yeah.
It was on like her first face.
Oh my God.
That was me, and I take it back.
I thought about for a hot second doing like a rewatch from season one, but like it's too much content. I don't think I could do that ever.
That's kind of how I feel right now watching Housewives of Atlanta.
Yeah.
Only on season 7.
How many seasons are there? Like
you're on
15, 13. This season is really, really, really good though. It's
okay. Yeah.
wild.
Okay.
It's
I heard about the stripper gate.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Since I've seen it more recently, I remember that Phaedra got a stripper named Ridiculous for Candy's birthday party who could suck his own penis.
Yes.
And Mama Joyce lost her damn mind.
Yes.
So I love to see, themes recurring. More strippers.
Oh, this stripper's name is Bolo. And I guess he has a real big PP, which is what the women said. I heard some very interesting names for the
like
word penis, especially Cynthia. Cynthia in her confessional, because it was like her bachelorette party.
Oh,
and she was talking about it in her confessional, and she just used all of these weird words instead of penis. I was dying because she's like so innocent, but not. It's funny.
Yeah. Oh, I love Cynthia.
Me too. Me.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Which to me just sounds, when I say it, I know it's like a stripper's like performance name. It's also a Harry Potter spell that turns something scary into something silly. Like if you remember in the Prisoner of Azkaban when there's like I can't remember what it's called, but like Snape walks out and then Neville gets really freaked out and the professor's like, okay, say it. And he says it and it turns out to be Snape in his grandmother's clothing. And he just looks so good. Harry conjures a freaking Death Eater and everyone's like, oh, not the same as a snake, dude. This has been Katie's Harry Potter corner.
God.
That was happy. That was a happy corner. You were like, let's talk about something happy. And I was like, yeah, that was happy.
Yeah. Yay.
Yay. We got some weird energy going on because listen, folks, I don't know how much of whatever just happened that Hayley is going to cut, but I will tell you, we are in a weird place. Bachelor is more exhausting than I think it's ever been. Because there is so much drama happening off the screen that it makes what's happening on screen like 20 times worse. So let's get into it, I guess. So Rachel Lindsay, as we discussed in our last episode, had a conversation with Chris Harrison, and he was abusive to her and racist and horrible. And so that, I guess, we'll just start there. That happened. He was defending Rachel Kirkconnell who has a really confusing name because it's two full names, Kirk Connell, but it's Kirkconnell. Very weird. She did racist things, and Rachel pressed Chris about it, and Chris was an asshole. And we talked about that in depth on our last episode. And there are people who are talking about it way more in depth than we ever could, and you can find them on the internet. Rachel Lindsay last week had to disable her social media accounts because of the amount of like racist and hatred vitriol being sent her way. I guess that's racist, vitriol, and hatred. I did that in my head. Anyway, it doesn't matter. She had to flee her accounts to protect herself from the racism of the Bachelor Nation, of which we are a part of. So reckoning with that has been a lot, not nearly as much as what Rachel and people of color and anybody who has been harmed by Chris's bullshit have experienced through the interview itself and the subsequent bullshit apologies that have come out. There was a hashtag coming out, or sorry, trending, hashtag I stand with Rachel. And it was a lot of different former contestants, former leads, people involved with the show standing in solidarity with Rachel. And that was like really beautiful to see because, I mean, even though she couldn't see it, it made her absence feel, it made me feel her absence in a way that her just being gone wouldn't have necessarily, because I think when someone deplatforms themselves like that, they kind of like take the space with them. And when people come back up with a hashtag or posting about it or having these conversations about it, it actually forces you to look at the situation more differently or differently. I don't know, does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. Like, because with the hashtag and with people like standing by her, it kept the conversation going.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, and hopefully without continuing to harm her more. Like, I hope she was able to like truly disconnect. And I mean, she's going to be harmed either way because she lives in a racist world. And that's not to excuse it, that's to accept the reality. But basically, I guess the anti-bullying spot she did on After the Final Rose last year didn't work, which we all knew by watching the season, and by seeing all of this kind of come to a head. So Rachel protects her peace and leaves social media. Rachel Kirkconnell, in her absence, makes a video denouncing some of her supporters who are saying she's being unfairly maligned or persecuted, or, you know, she didn't do anything wrong. And she says, stop saying that to these people. Like, I did something that was harmful. I did something that was bad. I participated in bad things. And she provided links and resources and accepted accountability. And she spoke specifically about what Rachel was experiencing, and denounced it. And I think that to me was a good example of her taking action to back up her words, because she addressed people who were listening directly to her, which perhaps, just a thought, might be the same people who are bullying Rachel Lindsay off of social media. I think there's probably a sizable overlap. And I think it takes a lot of awareness on Rachel Kirkconnell's part to reckon with that and use her platform with those people. So that also happened.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm just like reading off a list of all of the racist and anti-racist behaviors that have happened, but that's basically what this has turned into.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So in all of this, Chris Harrison was largely silent last week. Didn't really say anything. He had already announced that he wouldn't be hosting the Final Rose or After the Final Rose, which everyone was like, interesting. Okay, that's literally the least you could do. But it was announced last week that Emmanuel Acho, who is the author of the book that Rachel Kirkconnell was called out for just like posing behind her matcha latte. So now I guess we know why she had that book. He's the author of Uncomfortable Conversations with a Black Man. And I did a little background on him because shockingly, this is the first I've heard of him other than that mentioned before. He is a former professional football player. He currently is an anchor with Fox Sports. There are rumors behind the scenes that he was actually recommended to the franchise by Rachel herself, Rachel Lindsay. So I would hope that's true because I think Rachel Lindsay has great ideas for how to actually move this franchise into a better place because she's been victim of it being in the worst place. So that's happening. Yeah. So that's announced. And then today, Chris Harrison, he was on Good Morning America, not Good American, not Made in America. He was on Good Morning America. And I truly don't know if you can call this an interview. It was basically Michael Strahan giving a recap of what we've just, giving an elegant recap of what I just spent 25 minutes explaining, with way more graphics than I had. And then Chris Harrison with his taped phony responses. So some highlights. Chris Harrison says, quote, "I'm an imperfect man who made a mistake. This doesn't reflect who I am or what I stand for." He is saddened and shocked at how insensitive he was. And yeah,
like saddened and shocked. Like, imperfect.
Yeah. Honestly, it felt like he sat with whoever the diversity coach was on like the Bachelor franchise and was like, okay, how do I apologize to you?
Yeah.
Wrong, guys.
It was really, really bad.
And we've said it before, and we're saying it kind of glibly now. Like, we were not actively harmed by what Chris Harrison said. We have no stake in deeming his apology acceptable or not. We are simply people who look like Chris, who are trying to hold him accountable for being better. So, well, we're obviously hotter than Chris, so we don't look like him. I'm just throwing that out there. So, and like, he also goes on, he mentions, which really pissed me off. He mentions he hasn't spoken to Rachel since she deplatformed herself. And then goes to give her, or like pauses to like say an apology to her through this interview, which I think maybe he tried to course correct because he's like, no, I haven't talked to Rachel Lindsay, but I am so sorry. And then he's like, oh, I don't know. That was how I read it, which is bullshit. Like, he needs to apologize to her in person and like extensively, and then repair the harm he's done to her. I mean, professionally and personally, like, this is bullshit. And he also name dropped, I don't even remember the name of, I think he was a reverend. I might be thinking of the Housewives reunion that I was watching right before this. He referenced someone who had advised him that his responsibility is to seek counsel, not cancel, or like that is, the dichotomy being applied to this kind of stuff, which is what we've been fucking talking about for weeks. And Chris just didn't get it until someone like sat him down and was like, oh, I'm not canceled? Oh, thank God. Okay, I can keep my wine cellar in Texas. Like, fuck you. Fire Chris Harrison. You watched the interview, Hayley. What did you think?
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what you just said. It just felt so, and Michael Strahan said this too, but it just felt like so surfacey. Like,
yeah,
it was just like he was reading off a script, and he almost seemed kind of pissed that he was doing it. And he was like, just let me, like, I don't want to do this. I just want to like get back and host The Bachelor and do the same thing I've been doing for 25 years. And it's like, oh, okay. That's gross. Like, do better.
Yes. And I somehow buried the lead that he intends to return to the franchise, which, listen, I said it already. We said it last week. This man needs to leave the franchise. It is done. Like, one of my friends reached out this week and was like, I think this might be the end of the show. And I said, baby, you're wrong. Because I wish it would be the end of the show that's like this.
Mm-hmm.
I want, honestly, give the hosting gig to Rachel if she wants it.
Mm-hmm.
Give her some coin, show her some love, like something. Like this franchise is so like deeply broken. And it's like so profound to see. Like it's such bullshit. It's all just like I'm like at a loss. I don't understand how he thinks he can return. I mean, I can because he is empowered by the system, and I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's hard too. Something that I was thinking about a lot too was like, I mean, I agree. I don't think he should return. I think the system of the show is broken, and he has a big part that he's playing in that, and in the harm done to a lot of people in who have like been a part of that process. I do think too, like that whoever they choose next, and if it is Rachel, I just worry like the amount of like hatred that she's going
I
to
know.
get. Because if she's already had to like deplatform herself just from this experience, like imagine how much more difficult
No,
it'll be
that's true.
like she replaces Chris. Not that that's an excuse for them to not put like a person of color
Right.
in that place, but it goes back to like the diversity versus inclusion question, right? Like this season has been the most diverse, but it also has shown how little uh like how little like support is in place
Yeah.
to fight against racism, to fight against the hate speech online, to like protect the contestants and protect the people like prior contestants like Rachel
Mhm.
who like speak out about these things. And I mean, I guess now like with Rachel Kirkconnell's like video and whatever like bullshit Chris Harrison is like trying to do, I think they're like getting there, but like I I mean, I just don't know what the answer is because like how can they just I mean, like what just happened with Matt? How can they just put like a person of color in the lead and not
Yeah.
any sort and not like recognize the additional
Hmm.
like the different things that they need to do to make this space inclusive and not just like put people in these positions
Yeah.
to fail.
Yeah. I feel like making the cast diverse, but keeping the crew, the structure, all of it really segregated defeats the purpose. And that's what we've been talking about is like obviously racism is systemic racism is a thing, and like the root of the show is that like it is rooted in a culture that is systemically racist, and then the show itself is systemically racist. So just like you said, the question of diversity versus inclusion is you can't just put people of color in these racist systems and expect that you're going to come up with something that's inclusive because you're just not.
Yeah, and I don't know, like I haven't done any research on like the racial breakdown of like the production or writers. I mean, I don't know. I'm assuming there are writers or like the back end of like the Bachelor production team. So I don't know what they're made up of. But I mean, other than like Chris Harrison continuing to like go out and do interviews and like put his foot in his mouth again and again and again, the show ABC really hasn't done anything about like unless I missed anything, they haven't
No,
done anything
they
about
haven't. So Chris came out with a statement and it was posted to his personal account. Nothing ever came through the Bachelor ABC. There was a statement made by producers on bachelornation.com, but that's not a verified ABC account.
Mhm.
So it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's going back to, like, the environment question, like, what I don't know, and I can't start to, like, guess at how Rachel Lindsay must be feeling, but I
Yeah.
just don't know how we can, like, just I don't know, yeah, I guess I just don't know what the answer is because, like, I think removing Chris Harrison is a good idea, but I also think that there's more that needs to be done.
Yeah.
Like, removing
Yes.
him and replacing him with a person of color isn't going to fix everything. Just,
No.
like, making Matt James I mean, not that I'm saying Matt James was, like, chosen to be the Bachelor because he's Black, but just, like I mean, it's just, like, the tokenism thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, just choosing someone based on, like, diversity doesn't
Well, yeah. And I mean, he was chosen because he's Black, because he was pulled from Claire's season to film as the lead right after George Floyd was murdered. So, like, ABC has already shown their ass on that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That might be putting myself out on a limb. I might be the only one dying on that hill, but I kind of feel like he was chosen for who he was.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he also just didn't wanna, like, lessen his role.
Yeah, I don't mean to diminish him to
Yeah.
yeah. No, that's a good point. Thank you for checking me. The cynic in me is like they were looking for an answer to
Yeah.
what they perceived to be an easy question. You
Mhm.
know, the
Yeah.
bachelor is the bachelor racist? No, we've got a Black lead.
Mhm.
That's where I'm coming from. I don't mean to diminish who he is as a person, but I think he checked boxes for ABC. Unfortunately, like that is part of the franchise abusing him. It is
Mhm.
not seeing him as a real person, as a full person. Um, and just, I mean, that's how they abuse all of their leads, honestly.
Mhm.
But I mean, maybe my friend was right. Maybe they should just cancel the show because I don't know. They won't. But also, what has Chris Harrison even done as the host recently?
I
He
don't
shows up
know.
for the rose ceremony.
Yeah, I don't even know what the point of him is other than just to have someone, like, from the outside. Like, I just don't get
Oh
it.
yeah.
But even when they do that, they have, like, they regularly bring back other people from other
Yeah.
seasons. So I don't know why it just needs to be, like, one person. I mean, I guess to, like, host the stupid tell-alls and stuff, but I
Which
don't
honestly, those could go to.
I know they're so boring. They're so boring.
So bad. Yeah. Um, that's Chris Harrison.
Yeah, well, should we segue into the women tell all?
Yeah. Yes. Let's. Okay, that's a great segue. We're going to segue. Women tell all.
Yay. Oh my gosh. My
Hayley, talk to me
favorite
about.
episode of the season, the women tell all. Wow. Well, first of all, it happened when there was like a huge, like wild windstorm in Albany that night. So I was over at my friend's house because she has cable. And by cable, I mean she has one of those like flat antenna things that you like tape to the window. So you can get like ABC.
Did I get one of those for you?
No, because my TV, I know she said that she'll buy me one, but the one, they're only like $20. And two, my TV is far away from my window and
Oh,
it would just like ruin the whole aesthetic of my living room. TBH.
at least you're honest.
Yeah, so I was over at her house and we were trying to watch Women Tell All, and most of it was just in like they were in like robot voices and like everything was skipping and like I can't even explain to you how funny it was. And then it just completely cut out with like a half an hour left. So we were just like, okay, F this. Like I just went home and I was like, this is so stupid. So I missed a lot of it. I watched what I missed this morning. I probably could have talked about it without watching it.
Yeah,
It was really
it
bad.
was dumb. It
It
was
was,
so dumb.
yeah.
I feel like, I don't know, I feel like the tell-all is always the dumbest episode of the year.
Mhm.
Every time. No one needs it. This is not a Real Housewives franchise. Like, there are 10 episodes in a season. There are not 24. We don't need a reunion. We
Mhm.
just don't.
Yeah.
So it's not necessary anyway. And then also, this was not a season I wanted to talk about more. If you could not tell by the previous 45 minutes of this freaking episode, we are over this fucking show.
Yeah.
Which I always have Bachelor fatigue this part of the season, like, because Bachelor is really fun. I mean, when you were still in DC, when we were having like our watch parties, it's always so much fun to like get a group of your friends together and like have snacks and watch. And like, that's always a good experience. But this season, being in a, tortellini or panoramic or whatever I'm calling it, like, I'm watching alone with Brian and we're both like, why the fuck did we watch this show?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And the woman tell all is just like the most like what the fuck of the whole season. So really just exasperated all of these feelings that we've been feeling. So let's talk about it.
Yeah, and I think nothing new really came out of it either.
No.
It was just rehashing all old stuff. And at least like I think the comparison you make to the Real Housewives reunions is hilarious because at least in the Real Housewives reunions, like sometimes new stuff comes out or they like bring receipts or they like, I mean, it's all rehashing, but there's like new drama.
Yeah, there's new content.
Yeah, this is just the same.
Yeah.
It's so boring.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I guess I'll run through some thoughts. Where the fuck was Heather?
Oh yeah.
Did anyone notice she wasn't there?
I certainly did not.
I feel of all of the things they edited out of the season, like the funny dates, which they showed bloopers of, and I would pay money to watch a full season of that.
I know.
So much fun. Also, Hayley and I would probably win at the pancake and beer challenge because two of my favorite foods.
Oh yeah, except they said that the pancakes were really dry and I was like not about that. But I don't understand how because they said, "Oh, the pancakes were so dry." And then they cut and they showed
them.
Yeah, the entire like carafe of maple syrup poured on them. So I don't know what that was about.
I don't know either, but it reminded me, this is a tangent. Do you remember the Village Diner in Potsdam?
I don't
The
think
one with the giant pancake challenge?
No.
Oh, well, Graham and I did it once. And the pancakes are like, yay, like they're massive and they taste disgusting.
How? Like what? What do they taste like?
Like rubber.
Oh, what the heck?
So maybe it's the Village Diner catering bachelor. I mean, it's possible. Those pancakes did look big. I don't know.
And
Anyway.
made them in Potsdam and drove them all the way down to
Pennsylvania. Yeah.
And didn't even reheat them. Just like cold, dry, stale pancakes.
And okay, so the people who have never been to the Village Diner, I am not shitting on it. I love the Village Diner. Support local businesses. They brand their pancakes with a V and a D, which just makes me think of venereal disease. And the way that the old brand used to be, the D was inside the V.
They had to know. They had to
be playing it up for the colleges, right? Yeah. The D was inside the V, guys. It sounds like I'm giving the birds and the bees talk. Anyway,
Oh my gosh.
pancake cake looks great. Um, yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
okay, let's talk about, excuse me, all of that ginger ale is making my tummy go, ooh. Um, so everyone came for Katie.
Yeah, even
What was,
Chelsea. I
yeah,
was so surprised at Chelsea. I did not know she was
that
like,
was a bad take.
yeah, that was real bad.
I wrote down specifically what people said and who said
Oh,
them because specifically because Chelsea started it. And I was like, I did not expect that from her.
I
So
know.
basically, she says that Katie made the house toxic by bringing up the drama to Matt, which no, she didn't. But everyone's like entitled to their own opinion. And like, I guess, yeah, if you're bullying people and then someone calls you out on bullying, like, yeah, you feel like they created the drama because you haven't taken any responsibility for your actions. But like, that's more telling of you than of the person who called you on your shit. So next, um, Piper was like, how does this help your relationship with Matt? I was like, okay, at least we're on subject, I guess, because we're all supposed to be here for this man. And it's like, does like there is in my mind, you can exist on the show in multiple ways, right? So you're obviously all there for this man, but you are also living in a house with 30 women. Like you can't forget about that aspect of it. Like I don't understand why people have a problem with her. I don't understand it.
I know. And I think I get like I appreciated I mean, I don't know. Matt's take was kind of weird, but because he never really like apologized to anyone. But like
No.
he did, I mean, his explanation was true. He was like, he has never been in that situation.
Yeah.
We have never been in that situation. Like no one knows what
Yeah.
besides people in there, like what it's
Yeah.
really like and how you would react. Like I'm hoping I wouldn't become a total bitch and like bully people.
Yeah.
Um, but like I'm sure like there's always tension. Like whenever you live with other people, especially when you're like all dating the same person, like that's insane.
Yeah.
Like that's just ripe for tension. So
It
I
is.
but I do appreciate what he said about like keeping people accountable and like
Yeah.
what he said about Anna, I thought that was really nice actually because he was
Yeah.
like, like what you did was really shitty. And I really like appreciated our relationship and I could tell that you were really upset about it, but it just had to happen. Like I had to
Yeah.
do something about it,
Yeah.
which
That was no. So like
sure.
my entire takeaway from Matt coming out was like he it almost I understand he was trying to contextualize it like they are living in a house, no one knows how they would respond. He hasn't been in this position, but like I felt like he almost glossed over some of the bitchiness that happened because like you said there is always tension but there is never bullying. I've never called my roommate a shady bitch or a hoe like Rachel called Ryan. Like there was some outright terrible behavior happening that I feel like in trying to overly contextualize it and not calling it out specifically, he glossed over it.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Like it's not his job to be the mediator for the cast, but I felt like that could have been a really good moment to address like what happened and like what wasn't okay. And a thing that really rubbed me the wrong way was Serena C saying basically like I hope you don't think we're bad people because you watched us bully people. And it's like, what is he supposed to say?
I know that was really bad. That was so cringy. So cringy.
And I think it like the roots of it, I think, are in this like cancel culture that we've talked about so many times. Like I feel like everybody coming into the reunion was really defensive of how they were on the show, which I totally understand. It would be like even watching these episodes, like conversations with the friends that I know that are, you know, like it's cringy to watch myself talk. So I can understand how fucking horrible it would be to watch myself on live TV, especially if I wasn't saying or behaving the way that I thought I normally would. So I get that, and I get being defensive coming into it. There has to be like part of your self-awareness also has to include like, I fucked up. I shouldn't have behaved this way. And there just like wasn't any of that except for with Anna. Like Victoria said, like, name calling is unacceptable, and I'm learning basically from the backlash. Like, we're all getting it on social media, and it's like, I don't think actually you're learning anything is part of the problem. I think you're just receiving consequences for your actions and realizing that your actions maybe weren't okay. I don't know. I just like, I didn't see any form of like contrite behavior from anybody who I felt like that was what I needed to see from them. Like all of the bullies. Like, MJ was full of shit. She opened the segment with like not accepting responsibility for anything that she'd done, which became a theme in the whole episode. So I was just like, I was really frustrated because, especially given the conversation that's happened as the show has been out, like as it's been like broadcast to the world, and as they're receiving all of this feedback and hate or love or whatever they're getting in their DMs, like I would have thought they would have learned from it. Or maybe learned what I wanted them to learn from it, I guess is the problem.
Yeah, I think too, like based on what you just said, like what we want, like what we wanted out of this versus what we actually got, just shows too just how shallow the show is, which like we know, but it was just like, I think it's harder because it feels like there's so much more intense stuff happening this season that we just want more. And then we had the women tell all where it's just like shallow, 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 shallow. And you're reminded like, oh, this isn't the venue for these really big conversations to be happening. And that's like going back to what we were saying before about like the environment of Bachelor and Bachelor Nation, like this just like isn't a conducive environment for this. And not saying that we shouldn't be having these conversations, because we should, because they're important. But it's like you look at like the aesthetic and the environment that this show and ABC has created around this show, and it's like, oh, you're just supposed to like talk shit, nothing really gets resolved, someone may fall in fake love at the end, and we just ignore all of the real problems that are happening. And that's just kind of how, I think no, that's how they've been dealing with
they sell the fairy tale, and in the fairy tale there is no bullying, there's no racism, there's no anti-Semitism, there's no fat people, in case you were wondering. You know, like it very much is like the crown jewel of white supremacist television.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Yeah, but I think that's like a huge issue, and continues to be a huge issue, and will continue to be a huge issue into the future unless they actually make structural adjustments and change and take some sort of stand against racism, or against racism. And it's been clear that they're not really going to do that. So here we are. What are we going to do about it?
I might stop watching.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is so funny because my fiance and I, we run our fantasy league, and it's like, in theory, we are the ones most dedicated to this franchise, so that I don't know
either. Okay, so if we want to talk about the future of the Bachelor franchise, shall we discuss the spoiler?
Which one?
The one who the next Bachelorette spoiler.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be Katie.
Surprise!
Honestly, so I felt based on the women tell all, it's usually pretty telling who they give the hot seats to. And they gave Katie, Abigail, Serena P, and Piper hot seats. So I kind of felt like they were giving all of them a pretty solid edit. But yeah, people are still saying it's going to be Katie. So, I mean, cool. I like her, but I don't know.
I mean, I get it because I feel like they're trying to be like more mature, and she was like the mature person on this season.
Yeah.
I don't know what her story is going to be besides that. I love Serena P. I wish it was her. I think she's so cute. I am obsessed with her. I wish I still lived in Toronto so I could like be her.
Hang out with her.
She's so cool and so cute. And I thought her like hot seat interview was like just so down to earth and so real.
Yeah.
And I really, really, really like her a lot.
Me too. I also really like Abigail. Her interview I thought was really good. She was talking about like the difference between capital D and lower D deaf communities, and like I had no idea. And I was like, this is why representation matters. Like I was like, Brian, this is so cool. And he was like, yeah, whatever. Okay, keep it moving. But like, I don't know. I don't know. I honestly would have been fine with either four of them getting the lead. I liked them all. Piper and Serena P and Abigail are all pretty young though. I think they're all like 23 or 24.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Serena P is actually 23. Which is pretty young to be looking for a husband.
That's really young, yeah. I mean,
so I'm hoping that this was just like, I feel like the season got a bad edit, honestly, because they spent so much time focusing on bullshit when they did all of these fun and silly things that they showed us in the Women Tell All. And I was like, why did we miss this?
I know. Like, why did we not get a full episode of Serena P and Matt's farm date? Like, that is my shit. I would have watched 3 hours of that date. That looked
or
like
they were horses.
So fun.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm glad though that they cut the Fear Factor one where they had to find the ring and the bugs, because that looked terrible.
Yeah, that was real weird.
I don't like that. And also reducing a romantic relationship that would culminate in a marriage down to a piece of jewelry grosses me out. So can we stop doing it?
Oh, do you prefer the dates where the women dress up in wedding dresses?
No, I don't.
It's so creepy. Those dates are so creepy.
Yeah. Or like this season when they did the wedding photo shoots, I was like, no, I hate this. I hate this so much.
I know. I hate it. Ugh. Gosh.
I just like, so I am engaged, as we've talked about. I think I've name dropped Brian as my fiance a million times because it's really exciting and I'm happy and we're in love and it's great. But like we're getting these questions about wedding planning, and like the shit that I am uncomfortable with in this franchise, I am uncomfortable with in my own life. Like when I got engaged, everybody wanted to see my ring and they had so many comments and judgments and things on my ring, and like, yeah, I love it and it's beautiful and it's wonderful. But like people made me feel really weird about it. Like specifically like at work, people were really weird about it. And I was like, okay. And now everyone's like, when are you getting married? When are you getting married? When are you getting married? And I'm like, every time you ask me, I'm going to push it back another month. I swear to God.
Oh.
And Katie's wedding rant corner.
I mean, that's valid. I agree with what you said. I think it's hard too, because like some people know your boundaries and some people don't. And it's really hard to have people cross those boundaries. And you're like, stop talking to me, please.
Yeah. So this has been Make It Nice, where we're feeling punchy.
Yeah.
And we're trying our best through some troubling times to have important conversations. So
Yeah.
that's
I
all I
need
got.
to, I'm almost done with the band, like the waistband
Beautiful.
on my sweater. Um,
Here, my sun tea.
yeah, show us.
It looks like pee.
Well, it looks like tea. That was a nice little rhyme. What kind of tea did you put in there? Just you could just do it with any kind of tea?
I did green tea.
Ooh, nice. So here's your reminder to maybe go sit in the sun for a little while. And it'll help you uh diffuse like tea. Except don't sit in a jar. Because you need to breathe. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.